Hey guys, welcome back to Black Sheep Comic Book Collector. Today I'm making a video regarding the negativity in the comic book community. I have noticed the last, I want to say, 5 months, an overwhelming decrease of genuine interest in the hobby from people. I've seen people leave the hobby, sell collections for cheap. I've seen people just throw in the towel in the last 5 months. Many people in the community. Reggie's Comics is one prime example. He may have gone for other reasons, but looking at the comments in his videos, I would not be surprised and would not blame him for leaving if that was the videos I would posted and getting those comments. When it comes to things that people love, I've noticed that in my life at least, maybe it's just normal, but I never had this talk with anyone else really. But I've noticed that people are very overly sensitive when things are supposed to be their escape from reality. Like, I also play video games. That's also one of my escapes from reality. But my main escape when I just want to just forget everything is putting on music, reading comic books, looking at comic books, and learning about comic books. I mean, we don't know what 20 years will bring. I am 25, turning 26 this year, and I collect everything from timely Schomburg covers to some high grade random Silver Age books to some modern books like Mongol, Peter Porker, Deadshot. Marvel's, I think over here is first Harley Quinn. But I noticed people just attack each other relentlessly on what you want to buy and what you want to spend your money on. And it got me thinking, if this is where the hobby is going in terms of how negative people get when it comes to just little bumps in the road. Yes, granted, people are losing significant amount of money in really significant books. There's no question about that must truly suck. But as a collector, and I like to say an investor, you have to think about it two ways, in my personal opinion. First way, allow the hobby to fund itself. You do not need, unless you want is different than need. You do not need comic books. You want comic books. So why would you spend the money from your 9 to 5 on something that should have been sustainable? Okay, I can't say the word. Self-sustainable. In other words, if you put money into a high yield savings account, you're guaranteed money back. That's safe investment. Comic books, I view them not as safe investments unless you allow the hobby to fund itself. I sell books that I have no attachment to. I don't care about the monetary value of the book. Example, I sold my X-Men #1. It's probably like a 3.0 unrestored copy. Many people would criticize me for selling my X-Men #1 to buy timely books. But I had no interest in X-Men #1. I don't brandish that I owned an X-Men #1 unless someone asks me if I own one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need every single Marvel key. I don't need every single DC key. The only books I collect now are the books I genuinely care about. So if you allow the hobby to fund itself, and being self-sustainable, whatever happens within the hobby itself, you can write off as an experience and allows you to put more money back into it to expand your collection, have better books. I'd rather have one really nice book that I care about than 1,000 books I look at maybe once a year. You know what I mean? Why do you need 1,000 $1 books? After you read them and enjoy them, what do those books have that these books don't have? And I'm going to tell you what that one thing is. Public interest. If you had $1 book and you had your time with it and you got your money's worth out of it, you would be hard pressed selling that $1 book again for $1. And by the time you sell all your $1 books to equivalent to $1,000, you'll be in it for more time, which you would never get back. I see a lot of people just buy bulk and try and flip it, which is a good tactic if you buy it for cheap enough. Do not buy books over market value unless they're books that you cannot find anywhere else. That's another thing. Be responsible, okay? A lot of you in the community have reached out to me when you're in sticky situations. I do not mind. I'm always willing to help. And I'm not judging you. But you need to be very careful. Comic books are not stuff that you actually need to survive. And it genuinely worries me from the bottom of my heart that people are getting so worked up in FOMO and trying to be the next big thing for cloud chasing, trying to be the next best thing, buying the next book that's the next best thing, and wasting so much time when that could be spent with family, friends, better things to do with your time. Don't let this hobby turn into your worst nightmare. It can very easily turn into your worst nightmare. Comic books for me personally, from 2019 from college to 2023 about May, so a year ago, 2023, were my only source of income. I have traveled the planet with comic books, bought my girlfriend's engagement ring with comic books. I have bought other comic books, paid off my car, paid for car maintenance, went out with my girlfriend, paid off my college debt with comic books. If you're smart about it, there is money to be made, but be very wary about what happens. And be very selective in what you buy. The negativity in this hobby is I would say personally unacceptable. I do not judge anyone who wants to buy 1,000 comic books. If you want to spend $1,000 on 1,000 comics, be right ahead. I just said what I think is more responsible in my opinion. But I will always support you, and I will always have your back, and I'll always be in your corner for those who do that or anything else. But turning your back on people in the community for what they're spending their money on, is to me insane. Like, there's so many people on social media bashing each other on why you buying that book, why spending money on this, why you doing this, why you doing that. You know what, comic books should be dead in 20 years, whatever the case may be that they speak of. They don't know the future, number one. Two, they really need to understand that if their happiness comes from other people's approval, then they were never happy to begin with. Just, it's that simple. If you can't find happiness with things that you love, and a hobby that you should be an escape from, you should really consider getting thoughts within yourself to figure out, sorry, those are fireworks outside. You should really figure out what makes you happy. And maybe this hobby isn't for you. Maybe you like collecting magazines or postcards or stamps. Whatever makes you happy should be the hobby that you're in, not because of monetary value. I know I've been all over the place with this video, but it needed to be said that people just need to take a step back. Everything is going to be okay. And whatever happens will happen. No one can control anything. But the things you can't control should be at the top of your priority list. Spend time with your family, enjoying your life, and make sure you spend money reasonably and responsibly, and never put yourself in debt over something that should be a hobby, not a necessity. From the bottom of my heart, once again, please take the time to rethink things. And I think everybody should understand that, like what John Lennon said, life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. Everyone just needs to just calm down, relax, enjoy the hobby, have some water, it's good for you, and just relax. Okay? Alright. So thank you for being, I know it's a long video, but I just wanted to just share my thoughts. People have asked me, and I just want to just clarify on how I stand. And I support you whatever that you do. Just make sure you do not attack others for what they want to buy. Okay, thank you. Bye.